Hi, welcome once again. Welcome to Insect Systematics lecture series. So we were discussing the general characters of orders and economically important families. Okay, so this is the slide which I'm putting continuously. So we completed the discussion on the orders of Polyneoptera till now. So in the last class, in fact, we started discussion on the Paraneopteran orders. I started with the Hemiptera. Okay, so in fact, in the lecture 10A, we were actually discussing the suborder Heteroptera. Okay, so under lecture 10 Hemiptera, in the last class, we completed the discussion on the suborder level character of Heteroptera and its economically important families. So under lecture 10B, that means in this class, I'll be talking about suborder Achinorhyncha. In the next class, I'm going to talk about suborder Sternorhyncha. So that means under the lecture 10 Hemiptera, in this lecture 10B, I'll be concentrating on the suborder level character of Achinorhyncha and its economically important families. So Achinorhynchans includes fulgurate planthoppers, cicada, okay, froghoppers are also called spittlebugs, okay, eurybrachid planthoppers likewise. So what are the three, or they say, differentiating characters of three suborders? In fact, it is a repetition, but I want you to remember the distinguishing character of these three suborders. In fact, I left out the Coluarhyncha, another suborder of Hemiptera. So what are the important distinguishing features? So Heteroptera means labium or beak arises from the front of the head. Okay, in this, the very important character. Whereas in case of Achinorhyncha, the labium arises from the posterior part of the head. Okay, whereas in case of Sternorhyncha, rostrum or beak appears to arise between the four coxae. That means almost from the prothoracic region. But we know that the mouth part is actually part of head. So, but it almost looked like a emerging from the end of the head region. So that's how it looks like between the four coxae. That's how we can distinguish these three suborders. Tympanal organs absent in case of Heteroptera, whereas in case of Achinorhyncha, tympanal organs present. So that means cicadas and hoppers can make the sound. So they can produce the sound. That means they can also listen the sound. That means auditory organs are very well developed. Whereas in case of Sternorhyncha, tympanal organs absent. Other distinguishing characters includes antennae whose flagellum is not aristoid, maximum of 5 segments. It is not hair-like. You can clearly see well-developed antennae. Whereas in case of Achinorhyncha, antennae is so hair-like, aristoid, very small. In fact, you can see in case of cicada. Whereas in case of Sternorhyncha, very well-developed antennae, very long antennae will be there with maximum of 16 segments. Okay, it's a multi-segmented filiform antennae in case of Sternorhyncha. So Heteroptera means, as the name itself indicates, hetero means different. Okay, wings when present, they are in the form of hemelytra. That means half leathery, half membranous. Whereas both in case of Achinorhyncha and Sternorhyncha, we will find the uniform textured forewings and hind wings, which are held like roof, like over the body, like this. Okay, both in case of Achinorhyncha and Sternorhyncha. Whereas in case of Heteroptera, the wings are held flat over the body, like this. Okay, so that's how we can distinguish these three suborders. Okay, usually the Heteropterans are active forms, like these true bugs. Whereas in case of Achinorhyncha, they are active forms. They are capable of free locomotion, and many of them have the ability to jump up. That's why they're called hoppers many times. Whereas Sternorhynchans, many times, okay, they are inactive forms. Okay, many species with females and immature forms, they are inactive or incapable of locomotion. Okay, they remain in a particular place and continuously sucking the juice. Okay, so that's how we can distinguish these three suborders. Okay, so we'll get into the Achinorhyncan families. So only we'll be touching the economically important families. In fact, Achinorhyncha can be divided into two superfamilies, Cicadidea and Fulguridea. So idea, whenever we use the word ending idea, that indicates it's actually superfamily. So all the time family name ends with IDAE, ide, whereas subfamily name ends with INAE, ine. Similarly, tribe name ends with INI, ini. Okay, so we should know what actually we are talking about. So important families includes Cicadidae, cicadas, Cicadelidae, leafhoppers, Membracidae, treehoppers, Sarcobidae, spittlebug or froghoppers, Delphacidae, they are called planthoppers, Lopopidae. So in fact, all the Fulguridea are called planthoppers. Okay, so remember that. So specifically, we'll use the word Lopopid planthoppers like that. Okay, Lopopidae, it includes one of the important pests called sugarcane pyrilla. Okay, Eurybrachidae, there can be called Eurybrachid plant hoppers. Okay, Fulguridae are called plant hoppers. So these are the some of the families which are actually discussed in this lecture. So we'll take one by one. Cicadidae, they are called commonly called cicadas. I think probably all of you heard the sound of cicadas. Okay, so they are comparatively large sized. So measures from 2.5 to 5 centimeter, and they have got wedge-shaped body. Okay, so you might have seen the sitting posture of cicadas now on the tree barks, on the tree surface, and making sound. The very important character of cicada are three ocelli arranged in triangle. You can see here. So between the compound eyes, you'll find the three ocelli arranged in triangle. Okay, so that is the very important character of cicadas, Cicadidae. So male with conspicuous stridulatory organs, sound producing organs at the base of the abdomen. You can see the difference between male and female. The male possesses these timbal organs on the first abdominal segment. With the help of that, actually they make sound. Okay, only males can make the sound. Okay, so a conspicuous character of cicada is their ability to produce quite loud sound. So only males can produce sound which attracts the female for mating. So it has got courtship importance. In fact, the sound production is actually different from species to species. An experienced researcher can identify a species depending on the sound a species actually produces. Okay. So coming to biology of cicadas. So although cicadas are not economically important in the Oriental region, in Indian region, so their biology, in fact, attracted the attention in various countries. Okay, eggs are laid in slits of trees. Okay, you can see it is laying the eggs. Eggs are inserted into the trees by slitting the stem portion, and the eggs hatches and actually they fall down on the soil and they dig. They have got the fossorial type of legs and they dig into the soil and there they survive by feeding on the roots of trees. Okay. In many species, nymphal period takes 13 to 17 years. Okay, very important, very characteristic behavior. 13 to 17 years on feeding on roots. So in the nymphal state, they remain underground. Very important character. And researchers in many countries, especially in USA, they are trying hard in order to identify how actually evolutionarily they are able to identify these 13 years and 17 years, and they emerge as adults like this. Okay, when they are ready for emergence, they come to this tree surface, they actually crawl, come to the tree surface, and they emerge as adults like this. So adults usually live on the trees making sound. Okay, males will be making the sound and females get attracted and they mate and they continue their reproductive life. So adults live on trees. Example, Platypleura octogutata. In fact, now very less work has been done on Indian cicadas. We don't know whether they are annual or the say like 13 years or 17 year cicadas. So one species called Maggie cicada in USA emerge once in 17 years. Coming to next family, Cicadelidae. They are called leafhoppers. Varied in forms, color, size, rarely exceed 13 mm. Okay, 1.3 centimeter. Antibia, angular. Okay, like this, angular, with two or more rows of spines. Okay, they are arranged in, the spines are arranged in rows. Okay, there may be 2 rows or 3 rows. Okay, there will be spines. So very clear. I am talking about only hind tibia. So hind tibia means tibia of hind leg. If I say coxae of the foreleg. So I am talking about hind tibia with 2 or 3 rows of spines arranged like this. Okay, so very important character, very important distinguishing character of leafhoppers, Cicadelidae. Pronotum normal. Okay, it is a comparative character with Membrasidae, tree hoppers, which I am going to talk about in the next slide. Pronotum normal, never prolonged backwards, like in case of tree hoppers. In fact, Cicadelids are the largest family of suborder Echinorhyncha and includes many pests of cultivated plants. So that means they are very important economically. So important species includes Ambrasca bigutula. It's called cotton leafhopper. So if I say, okay, trinomial nomenclature, it is Ambrasca bigutula. Amblytodus atkinsoni, commonly called mango hopper. Nephrotetic virusins called rice leafhopper. So many of them, in fact, acts as vectors of plant viruses and phytoplasma. They acquire the virus or phytoplasma from an infected plant and transmit to a healthy plant, like mosquitoes, for example. So they are of varied color, you can see here. Okay, so very important character is hind tibia with 2 or more rows of spines like this. So, okay, I'm talking about this character. So, fore tibia, mid tibia, and hind tibia. So, there will be 2 or more rows of spines. So, very important character. Coming to next family, Membrasidae. They are called tree hoppers. large pronotum that covers the head, you can see here. Okay, and sometimes extended back over the abdomen like this, or sometimes it is projected over the head like this. So this is the pronotum, entire region. Okay, varied form of this pronotum. Some species have got spines or thorns on this pronotum like this. So you can see the extension. Okay, so very important character is the pronotum, which is modified highly in different species. Feeds chiefly on trees and shrubs. Okay, egg laying by making slits into the herbaceous plants also causes damage. In fact, they secrete honeydew that attracts ants, like acacia, red gram, and such plants. You'll find the infestation of these tree hoppers. Common species is Oxyrhachis tarandus. Coming to next family, Sarcopidae. They are called spittlebugs or frog hoppers. Okay, small hopping insects. They jump, and their size actually rarely exceeds 13 mm. Okay, they are similar to leafhopper. At first look, beginners may confuse it as leafhopper. Okay, can be distinguished from Intibia with one or two stout spines and circlet of spines at the apex. So I'm again talking about Intibia like leafhopper, Cicadelidae. You can see here one or two stout spines in Intibia and circlet of spines. Those spines, say for example, this is Intibia I'm talking about. So there will be one or two stout spines, and in this, at the end of this tibia, these spines are arranged in a circular manner. Okay, very important character. You can easily distinguish Cicadelidae and Sarcopidae with this character. Okay, they also feed on trees, shrubs, and herbaceous plants. Some species vaguely resemble tiny frogs. You can see here. That's why they are called frog hoppers. Then why it is called spittlebugs? You can see here. I think very commonly we have encountered this type of condition on many of the weedy plants. Yes, right? So nymphs, in fact, they are nymphs. They surround themselves with frothy substance produced from Malpighian tubules. So in the nymphs of these insects, frog hoppers or spittlebugs, they throw the Malpighian tubules, they secrete the spittle, and it surrounds their body. And again, it's for protection against natural enemies like predators and parasites. Okay, so examples includes Cosmos carta relata, Eos carta nilgiriensis. Okay, so I'm giving a picture of differentiating character of Cicadelidae and Sarcopidae, leafhoppers and spittlebugs. Intibia with two or more rows of spines in case of Cicadelidae, leafhoppers you can see here. Whereas in case of Sarcopidae, Intibia with one or two spines and a circlet of spines at the end of this tibia, at the apical region of tibia. That's how we can distinguish Cicadelidae from Sarcopidae. Coming to next family, Delphasidae, they are called plant hoppers. Okay, plant hoppers. Small hopping insect, they are also small. Okay, some of you beginners may confuse this with leafhoppers, but usually plant hoppers are brown colored. Okay, whereas leafhoppers are of varied coloration. So the distinguishing character, Intibia with large movable spur at apex. Again, I'm talking about Intibia. Okay, if you remember Intibia, I can differentiate already three families. What is that character? Intibia with large movable spur at apex. You can see here. Okay, so this is the place where you have to look in. Okay, movable spur at apex. This is the cuticular appendage. You know the difference between cuticular process and cuticular appendage. So this is the largest family of plant hoppers. Okay, among Fulgaridia, and includes many pests of cultivated cereals. So most of the time these plant hoppers infest cereals. Okay, very important pests includes Neelaparvata lugens, paddy brown plant hopper, commonly known as paddy BPH, sorghum shoot bug, Peregrinus maedis. Okay, so both Macropteri and Brachypteri are common. So Macropteri means fully winged condition, whereas Brachypteri is short winged condition. Okay, so at what condition they develop fully winged condition and what conditions they actually develop this short winged condition is actually of very important ecological implication. So how do you differentiate Cicadelidae and Delphasidae? So previously we distinguished Cicadelidae from Sarcopidae. Now Cicadelidae with Delphasidae, plant hoppers. Okay, as I was telling, Intibia with two or more rows of spines here in this region. Okay, Intibia. Whereas in case of plant hoppers, Delphasidae, we have to look for this movable apical spur in the Intibia. That's how we can distinguish leaf hoppers from plant hoppers. So the next family is Lopopidae. Okay, they are called sugarcane plant hoppers, Pyrilla, sugarcane Pyrilla. So measures again 15 to 20 mm. Fronds longer than the wide. Very important. You know, the fronds is the front region of head, which is extended, prolonged like this, and is longer than wide. Okay, you can see here, longer than wide, longer than wide. Okay, so that's how we can distinguish. Clypeus. So this is the clypeus. This is a region with lateral carina. Carina is nothing but a line or a ridge-like thing on the frons. You can see on the clypeus. So this is the one. You can see here. Okay, there are lines. Okay, this will be, there will be a mid carina and there are two lateral carina edge. You can see here. Okay, those ridges or lines are called carina, which is very clear in case of Lopopidae, which is a distinguishing character, comparable character with another family called Eurybrachidae. So why I am telling this comparable character means with one or two character you can distinguish 2 or 3 families. So that's how it becomes very easy for remembering. Okay, the Ainetibia can bear some of the spines, especially 2 to 3 spines may be found on the Ainetibia, which is again a comparative character with Eurybrachidae, another plantifer family. The nymphs have 2 long tails. You can see here. This is the nymph, very characteristic. Okay, so extended like a filaments here. Yeah. So sugarcane pyrilla purpusilla is a very important pest in sugarcane. So Lopophidae. Next, there is a family called Eurybrachidae. They are called Eurybrachid plantophores. You might have seen this type of insects again. Okay, so especially on the herbaceous plants, they will be found sucking the juice. Okay, medium in size with broad body. Okay, frons wider than the long. You can see this is the frons. Okay, is wider than the long. Okay, Lopopidae longer than the wide. That's what I was talking. Clypeus without carinae. You will not find any lines there here. Okay, on the Clypeus region. Ainetibia with 4 spines, whereas in case of Lopopidae, 2 or 3 spines I was talking in case of Ainetibia. So usually suck the juice from woody herbaceous plants. Eurybrachis tomentosa, common species. So very easy to remember. Okay, the genus name also starts with the family name, Eurybrachis tomentosa. So how do you distinguish Lopopidae and Eurybrachidae? Frons longer than the wide. You can see here, frons longer than the wide. Whereas frons, Eurybrachidae, frons wider than the long. Wider than the long. This is where you need to see. Clypeus with lateral carinae. I was talking about these lines. Okay, lateral carinae will be there. Whereas in case of Clypeus, without carinae, there will not be any lines. Okay, ridges. Ainetibia with 2 or 3 maximum spines. You can see here 1, 2, 3 like this in case of Ainetibia. Whereas in case of Eurybrachidae, you will find the 4 spines. Ainetibia with 4 spines. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how we can distinguish Lopopidae and Eurybrachidae. So very easy to remember. Okay, so those are the economic important families, but no, this is a comparatively larger suborder. Many of them do not have economical importance. Okay, but still many of them are very attractive. That's why I'm just listing with few photographs, because whenever you go for expedition or collection, you may come across this type of insects. So try to collect those insects as well. So these are Fulgoridae, Fulgorids. You can see here, pair of species, in fact, very common in Western Ghats in India. Darbidae. Okay, they are called Derbid plantophores. You can see here, they see the sitting posture, very characteristic. And Flattidae. So because of their sitting posture, you can see flat. Okay, that's why this family is also called Flattidae. Okay, very characteristic. So these are the other families you can also come across during your collection trips. So there are some questions with visuals. Which is this family? I was showing that nymphs exude frothy substance which covers their body. Which family it is? Similarly, pronotum is extended back over the abdomen or extended over the head. Which family it is? Commonly called triophores. I'm giving the clue. I'm asking the family name. So how do you distinguish Cicadelidae and Sarcopidae? Leafhoppers from plantophores. So once we proceed to another future orders, you come across with so many families which starts with C: Cicadelidae, Sarcopidae, Cicadidae, okay, Carabidae, Cicindelidae, okay, Coccinellidae. Like this, there are so many families. You tend to get confused. That's why I suggest you to go through these slides repeatedly, so then only get familiarized with these family names and also their characters. Okay, so which family it is? I'm giving a clue. It has got, in case of Ainetibia, it has got 2 or 3 rows of spines. Which family it is? So in which family you find this Aintibial spur, movable tibial spur? Okay, which family this one is belongs to? Wherein the frons is longer than the wide. So try to once again go through the lecture and try to identify and answer these questions. Thank you very much. So if there are any doubts, you can post below, or you can email me as well. Thank you very much.